What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV and another video for you guys today, and we're going to be focusing on our new South Korean star, Yang Min-hyuk, who's obviously on loan at QPR at the moment. Not such a big sample size to go on. He has played just 6 games, only 2 starts in there, but he is starting to make a few waves in the Championship. I think some of the clips that we're seeing about him just look sensational, to be honest, with how direct he is, how fast he is, how he can take it around a man with ease. Enough nutmegs already in there in his first couple of games that look brilliant. And again, he got a start over the weekend in a 2-1 loss against Sheffield United, one of the leading teams in the Championship at this moment in time. And his manager was speaking about him, and the quotes that he said, Marty Cifuentes, says he's progressing, he's doing well. The last 2 games at home especially, he did well. The impact from the bench against Portsmouth was very positive. He's growing, learning our way of playing and the pace of the game. He's doing good things and is still a young lad and needs to keep learning and improving in some areas. His attitude is top. He is dangerous and has the pace to go forward, get in behind and go 1v1 as well. And a few publications were reviewing his game on the weekend, and in West London Sports, the player ratings said Yang was handed a 6 only in the review, prone to being nudged off the ball, which is understandable given his size and inexperience. And the first goal came after he was robbed. He did look lively going forward, though. So, I mean, it kind of is expected, that kind of thing, because of how young he is. Obviously, his size, he does look, he could be potentially a bit lightweight. But him coming from a South Korean league as well at the age of 18, you do kind of expect that. However, London World's rating were a lot better for him and full of praise of the South Korean starlet, and they gave him an 8. And they said the potential here is crazy. Bullied off the ball for Sheffield United's opener, but that goal was not solely his fault with unconvincing defending. Looking a threat every time the ball landed at his feet, would have had his first QPR goal if he was found by Morgan. So he is making a lot of good runs off the ball as well. But I think what a lot of people are saying about him is that the attitude that he's showing and the kind of head that he has on his shoulders is top.
Yeah, and that's what you expect from him. Obviously, coming from the K-League, it was obviously a massive step up. It's a new level of football in terms of the physicality, especially the time on the ball you're getting, the space you're getting. It's all very, very different. We know how the Championship, they say, is one of the most physical leagues, even in Europe. So it's obviously going to take an adjustment. But I think he's only played 209 minutes, so it's not a massive sample size of what we've had. But I think already you're starting to see flashes of what he's capable of. And I think hopefully as the season goes on, he gets better and better. But there are even some stats to suggest, as you say, his attitude and how hard he works. There's some stats to back that up. But I think he's had some struggles, but I also think there are definitely some green shoots in how he's performing.
Yeah, which the main struggles are the physicality of how he's competing in terms of the defensive side of the game. But I think from an offensive side of the game and the way he can find that space, the way he can take it round his man, and the way he's just a constant threat really for QPR, I think is great for them and definitely going to be good for us in the long term. If we go over to X, we'll show you a few of his snippets of why we're so excited about Yang Min-hyuk. And this first one is from the game against Portsmouth last week, and it just shows him just blazing through the centre of the park, finding his attacker, and the attacker didn't get the ball in the back of the net, so that probably would have been another assist if there was a better finish there. But I mean, you can just see from that clip the speed that he has.
Yeah, he's very, very sharp and clearly attacks the space with confidence, and that's what you got to do at that kind of level. So clearly you can see as soon as he wins the ball, he's no other thought than to get into that half and try and create an opportunity, and that was really impressive, I thought.
And then if you go to the next one, this was his only assist to date, and just the way he takes it past his man is just brilliant.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Brilliant flick, and then also had the presence of mind to pick out someone as well for the goal. So had the quality end of it, which is what you need at this level. It's all well and good having that flicks and tricks or that little bit of spark, but you need the quality at the end, and that's what he showed in that moment, and we need to see that more often from him.
Yeah, and this was against very physical centre-backs as well. The next one is the assist in its full glory. You can see it at a better angle. So the way he just takes it past his defender, smashes it into the box, and there's a goal. And this next one is actually from pre-season, which was against Spurs, and it just shows him absolutely rinsing Emerson Royale.
Yeah, and that's whatever you want to say about Emerson. We've always thought he's a pretty good defender. So to spin him as easily as that is pretty impressive still as a young player. And the way he just gets away from him, the change of direction is really, really good. And I think you can see that flexibility just to get beyond him, and all of a sudden he's away, and he's got unbelievable speed as well. So I think once he's away from you, he's hard to catch up on.
And what else I like about him, Al, he's like very nimble on his feet. He's always on the move. He's always looking to move the ball forward. And even when he doesn't have the ball, he's always pushing himself forward as well. And this is a good example of that, which was, again, against Derby, where he nutmegs a player there and get past another player, looking for the quick 1-2, and there he's off and away. And really from that move, he probably should have had an assist as well.
Yeah, and I think that's obviously really, really great that he has that in his locker, his ability to get away from his man. But what he's going to have to work on, especially when he gets to the Premier League, is when defenders are getting tight to, when they're getting physical, and when he has to shield the ball rather than break into space. How is he capable? How is he coping with that kind of thing? And that's obviously going to be the next step. But I think to have this in his locker at the moment is still pretty impressive for a young player, because it could have been easy for him straight away to be completely lost in that league, and he seems to be improving and getting used to it, which is really good.
With him showing like these kind of signs quite early on in his first 6 games of the Championship, are you disappointed that he never took any part of that Tamworth game?
Yeah, I mean, it's one game, but yeah, I think I would have liked to see him for sure. I would have liked to see him in Tottenham just to see how he would have got on. But I think clearly you can even see so far he's definitely needs some adjusting to this league, and I think this game time is helping him a lot.
Well, let's go and look at his numbers behind his first 6 games for QPR, and there's some impressive stuff in there.
Yeah, it's mixed, I think it's fair to say, but again, it's only based on 209 minutes, so it's not like it's a massive sample size. I think you'll get a better reading of it at the end of the season, but this is obviously some of his shooting stats. Obviously, he doesn't have any goals or anything, but one thing is this is per 90, so obviously he's only had 209 minutes, as I say, a lot of sub-appearances, but he does seem to get quite a lot of shots off, which is good. He's finding that space, and the on-target stats are good, so when he does get a shot off, it does seem to hit the target, and we've seen him force the keeper into a few saves in a few games, so that's pretty impressive so far. The possession stats, I think, need some work. That's where I think he struggled a bit in terms of taking people on, being dispossessed a lot, getting touches in really good areas. You can see he struggled a bit in that aspect so far. At 1.29, again, only 209 minutes, but that's something that a player in his position, he needs to kind of improve on. And I think at the moment he's probably getting dispossessed a bit too much with the time he's had on the pitch, and that's something that maybe at the moment showing he needs to work on his ability to shield the ball, his ability to get away from defenders more regularly, because he's shown flashes, but it's only been that he hasn't done it with regularity. That's the thing. Yeah,
I feel like as well, but he's attempting so many dribbles per game as well, and I think that's another reason why the success rate is fairly low, because he is trying it a hell of a lot of times per game.
Well, yeah, and that's something he needs to improve. 37. Yeah. It's not the worst, 37%, but it's obviously below average. If you look at his passing, though, assists and stuff like that, pretty decent. Obviously, he got 1 assist, which is per 90 is decent, but again, it's only 1 assist in 209 minutes. But chances created is pretty healthy. That's a good number. So he's creating chances with the little time he's had on the pitch. But in terms of the other stuff, crossing-wise, successful passes. I actually looked at his stats on the weekend. Didn't touch the ball a lot at all. He had 5 passes, so needs to get a bit more involved in the game. Clearly, he can be kept out of the game a bit more. But I think these stats that I'm going to bring up are quite good, because you mentioned his work rate and his mentality, and I think this is what's quite impressive about him in terms of his defensive stats. So I know wingers aren't usually judged on these stats, but I think it tells a bit of a story about how hard he works, how he's willing to get stuck in as well, and get get his boots dirty and get his shirt dirty, that kind of thing. And you can see here, tackles won, amount of interceptions he makes, recoveries, possessions won in the final third. Those are really, really good. I know, again, it's a small sample size, but clearly with his time on the pitch, if he's not getting involved in the game, at least he'll do the hard graft and he'll do the hard work, and that's something that's a kind of fundamental. He's not kind of a winger who's a liability who just, walks around and only waits for the ball. He's willing to get involved in the defensive side and put his foot in, and I think those stats are that's quite telling in the short time he's been there.
Yeah, and it's so great to have these kind of attributes at such a young age. He like we said before, he's come over from an Asian league in South Korea where, in terms of the level of quality, it's a lot less. No disrespect, but it is a lot less than what you're seeing in the kind of championship and in the Premier League. And it's a lot more physical, the challenge that he's coming up against. So it's great to see him putting in this work rate. And with him only playing 6 games so far, I do expect all these stats, not just his defending, but the offensive side of the game, to keep going up and up and up.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is Jules' one is quite low, and I think it's more to do with lack of physicality rather than lack of work rate, which is why that's quite low, I would say. But in terms of the other one, that just goes to show that he's not just a passenger. He's not just a liability in the team. He is doing a lot of hard work as well. So that's really, really good. And if he continues that, then he will earn the right to play more minutes. And that's the main thing. Yeah,
absolutely. And, he's starting to get starts sprinkled in now for QPR. The manager seems really happy with him. The fans as well get excited about him. He's definitely a bums off seat player as well. When he gets the ball, he likes to drive forward, likes to create space, and likes to hurt the opposition. And I think there's a lot more to come from him this season, and I'm very excited to see what the future holds, or definitely the near future, in terms of from now to the end of the season for Yang Min-hyuk. And I think it will tell us a lot in terms of what happens with him next season. Does he come back to us to stake a claim in the first team to be an impact player? Does he go on another loan next season, maybe to the lower end of the Premier League, maybe a better team in the Championship? I think everything's still to be resolved, but I think from now until the end of the season is a big opportunity for him to keep improving, get consistent minutes in the English League, and to build up that physicality. I think he needs to spend quite a bit of time in the gym, I'd say.
I think, look, he just needs to work on I don't even necessarily think it's about bulking up. It's more just getting used to the physicality and the intensity, and also adjusting to that. And I think that takes time. I think we've seen slender wingers in the Premier League do well, but they have a core kind of physicality where if they're getting bumped into by defenders, they're able to hold them off, and he's struggling with that at the moment. He needs to improve that, but he also needs to make sure he maintains that kind of slight slender nature, because he needs to be able to wriggle away from defenders as well, and some kind of wingers have struggled with that. So I think it's all about adjusting and keep working on it, but I think he's developing in a decent way so far.
Yeah, all in all, I think it's been a positive start for life for him at QPR. This weekend it is Yang Min-hyuk up against Will Lancashire, QPR against West Brom in the Championship this weekend, so we'll be keeping a close eye on that. But let us know your thoughts on Yang Min-hyuk. If you're a QPR fan or an avid QPR viewer, let us know what you've noticed about Yang Min-hyuk in the comment section below. But like, subscribe and comment, and as always...